Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank you for calling this hearing. This has been something that has been very important to me since I was a mayor back in 2006, dealing with the problem in my city, which really shined a light on the fact that our problem with illegal immigration isn't just people crossing the Mexican border. We saw that firsthand. 1996, I'm going to direct this to Mr. Wagner. 1996, Congress passed a law calling on Congress to collect biometric data. DHS now maintains that they have a plan underway by 2016 to report to Congress on the cost and benefits. That's 20 years. 20 years to come up with a report on the cost and benefits. 14 other nations have already done this. In fact, New Zealand's on their second generation of technology. You know, back in 1961, John F. Kennedy challenged America by saying that we would set a goal to send a man to the moon safely before the end of the decade. Today, it's going to take us 20 years to report to Congress a plan on the cost and benefits. I just wonder what John F. Kennedy would say today if he was sitting on this committee. Could you tell me why it's taken so long when we know for a fact that visa overstays is the preferred entry into this country by terrorists?
Well, thank you for the question. The responsibility for this was assigned to Customs and Border Protection this past April. You know, and we are pursuing a plan to be able to do that. It's a very complicated system. We have worked and implemented the biometric inbound part of that. We have supported that with the biographic capability to know who's leaving via commercial air and sea. We've made great progress on the northern border with the biographic approach for travelers, you know, leaving the U.S. into Canada, which I talked about earlier. But it's a very complicated system. You know, we've run pilots in the past. We've looked at, okay, you know, I have no doubt we can set up a system to collect biometrics and match them from a previous encounter. We do it every day today. State Department collects the biometrics when they issue a visa. A couple weeks or months later, we see the person arrive in the U.S., we take the fingerprints again, and we match them up. That's the easy part of it. It's where do you put it into that travel process that, number one, it's meaningful, and number two, we just don't shut down air travel because we backed up, you know, people, the line's so bad that the departures are delayed. Because really, if we don't put it at the right place in the process, and we don't know that the person actually boarded the aircraft, we've really only minimally improved the existing process we have today.
If I could just interrupt you, I understand that it's complicated. I'm sure President Kennedy thought it was complicated to send somebody to the moon and bring them back when we didn't have a space program like that. We are the greatest country on earth. We can shoot missiles out of the sky. And I'm hearing that it's going to take us 20 years because it's complicated to come up with a way when 14 other countries have done so. Center for Immigration Studies said that a system would cost us $400 million to $600 million in the first year. But DHS said that it could cost as much as $9 billion over 10 years. Why the discrepancy in the cost from DHS's old study, that's a 5-year estimate, to what Center for Immigration Studies declared?
I'm not sure what they're relying on, but I think a lot of our costs were the personnel costs to have the officers out there with a handheld biometric collection device at all the departure gates to collect those biometrics from people doing. That's something we could implement that fairly quickly and easily, but it's got a pretty tremendous price tag along with it. I don't know that the other study you're referring to, that they looked at where do you put that technology to have some assurances the person actually boarded the aircraft. We could put it at the TSA security point. We could put it at the airline desk. We could put kiosks out there, but somebody could register their fingerprints and walk out of the airport. So what have we really improved in the process at that point?
If I could ask a quick question to Ms. Gambler before my time is up. In 2012, the DHS Office of Inspector General issued a scathing report identifying potential fraud involving discrepancies between biographic information collected when a visa holder exits and biometric information collected when they enter the United States. Yet Secretary Napolitano testified before this committee that she believed the biographic logging conducted by DHS is not the same as biometric, but it is very close to the same. Ms. Gambler, do you agree with that assessment?
Congressman, I think at this point DHS doesn't have the information to be able to say what benefits they're getting out of biographic and how that compares to the benefits that could be gotten out of biometric. That's part of the process that DHS is going to be engaging in going forward with this assessment that they're planning to provide to Congress several years from now in terms of what benefits biometric would provide over biographic and at what cost. But at this point, I'm not sure they have the information yet to be able to say that.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.